can probably tell that I'm at home. It's because I have got a time crunch on today, ladies and gentlemen, and so I want to jump right into Adobe Edition and to show you a really simple tip that's going to help you to manage the loudness, the perceived loudness, the LUFS, if you will, of your audio. Whether you're a podcaster or you do video content, this little tip is going to be a really, really important one to help you just get the job done in a technically sound way.
This is how we do it.
What is up, everybody? It is Shane here for Waiting to Be Seen, and I do want to welcome you to today's video, and I'm going to dive straight in. To be honest, there are really smart people in the world who put together the technical specifications for a whole bunch of things when it comes to video, when it comes to audio. These guys and girls are really, really clever, and you know, when we don't have that kind of knowledge base ourselves, it kind of falls on our shoulders to rely on our software to help us out. I learned that there's a very easy inbuilt option in Adobe Audition that is what we're going to be using today. I've got Adobe Audition open. I have one of the files from last week open at the moment. I'll just show you very quickly, just to recap a few of the things that I do personally when I'm treating audio, especially when it's speech. If I come into effects and then I'll come down to amplitude and compression, and then I do a single band compressor, you can see I've got a preset saved. So I just apply that. The next step is to actually zoom in, usually on a nice quiet part in between the speech. So I'll select this, I'll go Shift P, Control All, Control Shift P. This is the noise print, and if I just apply that, it's currently just reducing it by 20% and reducing it by 4 decibels as well. So it's not too harsh a reduction, and it also gives me enough flexibility that if I need to, I can actually run this as 2 passes. And it just helps to clean up the audio a bit, just to remove some of that noise, right? What I then do under Effects Rack, I have another preset, which is from Vashi, and I'll put a link down below if you want to get his thing. The next thing that I want to apply to my timeline is a normalizing process. And I personally like to normalize it to about -6 dB. The reason why I go personally with 6 dB here is because that's where red starts. If you're looking at your audio mix, from 6 dB up to 0 is kind of the red bar section of your mixer bar, and I just, it's a personal preference to not have it hit red if it can be helped. So I'd prefer to have it right at the top of the yellow, because then I know that what I'm pushing out audio wise as far as level is concerned isn't going to distort, and that's kind of important. So if I just click apply to that, you'll now see the whole thing does its thing. And if I just go backspace to get the entire timeline again, there you go. Now it's not looking too bad, but you don't know necessarily, even though the level is at -6, you don't know what the perceived loudness over the entirety of your track is going to be. This is where this little tip and trick is really, really helpful. Let's actually get to the part that you're interested in, right? I'm sorry. Let's go up to Window, come down to Match Loudness, or Alt-5 will also open this window. And this is where the magic happens. Take your file, drag it into where it says drag and drop. Okay, now next to, you've currently got this match loudness settings. What you need to do is click on the little, I guess it's a magnifying glass. Click on that and it will analyze your entire file, and it will tell me after it's had a think about it. And you know, this is about an hour and 15 minutes, I think. So it's a chunky file, so it's taking its time. But once it's done that, it then comes here and you can see zoom, blah, blah, blah. And it's got this thing called ITU loudness. ITU, they're the guys that make these standards, okay? And as it stands, the perceived loudness of this is -28 LUFS. And LUFS is just the name for that standard. Now, if I click on match loudness settings right next to that magnifying glass, you've then got match to, and there's a whole bunch of different options that you can choose. And the very first one is what we're talking about at the moment. It's ITU-R BS.1770-3 loudness. So click on that, and it then gives you a few options. This is where you can adjust your audio so that it is as loud as it ought to be for the end user that you're making it, okay? So for podcasting, for example, you should have a maximum LUFS of -14. I think that's the current standard. Interestingly enough, in Australia, that was kind of translated into, I think it's operating practice 59. for broadcast television. Now, the fascinating thing for that is -14 is too loud. I think it was -23 for that. Find out what the end platform is, find out what their expectations are for perceived loudness for the LUFS, and then you can just adjust it here, and you can make multiple versions if you need to. For example, if you're going to have a podcast and you're going to have a video using exactly the same content, I'd recommend that you actually export 2 versions, and you can just say one version is the podcast audio levels and the second version is the video audio levels. And I'm talking levels in terms of loudness, because those things of course are actually 2 different issues. Loudness and levels are not the same. They don't equate to one another. And then you just click run. I know, looking at this, you can see, well, hang on, that looks like it's really just crushed everything. And it kind of sort of has. Let me just zoom in. When you zoom in, you can see actually it hasn't done that. And there it is. It's saved, it's done, and you've matched thereabouts. You've matched loudness as much as you can. I think that on that note, I'm all done for today. If you think that today's video has been helpful for you, then let me know. Give me a big old thumbs up down below. And if you think that content such as this might be of use to you in the future, then why not consider subscribing to the channel today. I'd love to have you on board for the journey. I love learning this kind of stuff myself, and it's really exciting to be able to share some of that with you guys at home as well. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you have a brilliant day, a brilliant weekend, and that the week ahead is looking good for you as well. And I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for stopping by. See ya.
That's gonna leave a mark.
What?